Hello and welcome to Link Ahead, the City of Dublin podcast. As we mentioned on our last episode, we are now in Season 4, Bruce.
Season 4.
With nearly 70 episodes under our belt, we've had so many different guests and topics that always bring a different and unique feel to each episode, and we love that. But we also have some constants, too, like our rapid fire questions at the end where we get some fun insights from our guests about their faves around town.
And here's a constant of those rapid fires. Whenever we ask, what's your go-to lunch spot, dinner spot, our favorite spot for a beverage and food, one place gets more mentions than anyone. In fact, we've joked that they should be a sponsor of the podcast.
Are we joking about that? I think the offer is very much on the table.
On the table.
And that place is Dublin Village Tavern.
Yeah, that's the one thing. Like, it doesn't matter how old, how young.
You're absolutely right. It's the most common answer. And I have to say, it just rings true. I mean, it fits for everyone, whether my brother's coming to town or we're entertaining the Deputy Consul General of Ireland. We will take them to Dublin Village Tavern.
Awesome.
So we thought, well, let's bring them on the show. So let's welcome DVT's General Manager, Geri Ziemba. Geri, welcome to Link Ahead.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. All right, Geri, most mentions on a podcast isn't an official award or anything you can hang up at the back at your location, but you get serious props here. And knowing the people of our city love what you're all about has to be a great feeling.
Oh, it's awesome. We have the best customers ever. We really are really fortunate.
Well, we're so happy to have you. And we also have a second guest with us today, City Scene lead editor, Rachel Karras. Rachel, welcome to you.
Hi, thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Well, you are an editor and a writer for Dublin Life magazine and also other suburban publications. So you really have your pulse on the foodie scene around Central Ohio. Tell us what makes Dublin's restaurant scene so special.
I would have to say it's the range of options. You know, you've got things like Dos Hermanos, Cap City, Mezzo, Cafe Istanbul, and, you know, so many other places. You know, no matter what cuisine or flavors you're looking for, there's going to be something in Dublin that you can find and enjoy.
Awesome. Now, at the heart of our awesome food scene is the DVT. Geri, you opened on Valentine's Day in 2000. What were those early days like, and how have things changed over the past 25 years?
Wow, it's changed a lot. Back then, 25 years ago, there was, I think, 3 other restaurants in historic Dublin when we opened. So it was more of a sleepy kind of town.
Sure.
And now today, 25 years later, this place is popping. I mean, the city is awesome with everything that's going on.
What was that building before? Do you have any
It sat vacant for a long time.
Okay.
It was Dublin's first post office until like the mid-70s. And then it was various different types of businesses until we came in late 98, 99 to start construction.
Which is hard to believe because what a great location.
Right.
I mean, prime location right there on the corner in historic Dublin and a cool old building. I mean, you go in there and it's just great to look at and cozy and in a great spot. So Rachel, let's keep walking through this chronologically. Sawmill Road became a bustling area over the last couple of decades while historic Dublin was evolving too in the food scene. We also have not more than just restaurants come to town, but Mexican and Asian markets open too. Talk about the evolution as far as you see it.
The growth and development of the food scene in Dublin has just been incredible. Seeing things pop up and join the area. You know, Sawmill Road, like you mentioned, is full of amazing places. You know, you've got Indian street food and Vietnamese sandwiches and lots of fun, unique fusion foods and combinations like what you'll find at Cilantro. But, you know, Sawmill and downtown aren't the only places. You know, you've gotten growth at Perimeter Drive and over by Avery.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know, there's tons of fun things over there. Rusty Bucket, First Watch for the breakfast lovers, and, of course, Matt the Millers. Love their pretzel bites. And there's a burger there, too, that's really good.
Now, why am I so hungry all of a sudden?
Yeah, I was
Did
gonna
anybody
say.
bring anything for us to snack on?
That was an
Geri?
oversight.
Hey,
Yeah, I dropped the ball.
that's all right. So now to one of our crown jewels, Bridge Park. Construction began in 2015 and has been opening in phases ever since. Now, Geri, we know more competition isn't always the best thing for restaurant businesses, but in this case, more shops, more restaurants, condos, more everything has really meant more opportunity for everyone. So can you talk about this transformation from your standpoint?
From my standpoint, more is more right now. I don't really look at any other restaurants as competition. I still like to picture Dublin in my brain as this nice little town,
Sure.
and we're all neighbors, and we all want to succeed. So I think we can do more together than compete against each other.
Yeah, speaking of togetherness, Rachel, can you talk about the melding of historic and new Dublin with Bridge Park, and that it was hard? That was a hard feat to pull off.
I think it's all about balancing and kind of going off of what Geri was saying, and that, it's bringing people together and finding ways to connect. The link has obviously linked so many things together and so many people. Like you said, historic to Bridge Park. You can get dinner at Tucci's and then go over and get some ice cream at Kilwin's, or vice versa, go to Valentina's and then go over to Jenny's. But, it's finding ways to connect. And, I know like the HDBA, the Historic Dublin Business Association, has done so much to help on the historic side, and Bridge Park has hosted a lot of events. So it's all about bringing people together and helping each other bring in other people.
Now, part of that melding is the diversity of options. If you want awesome from scratch food while wearing a sweatshirt, we got that. Or you want to suit up for a power lunch or dinner, we have fine dining too. And it seems like Cameron Mitchell is opening a new restaurant every year, every month, it seems like. So we have the North Market with options for everyone. And then you have the tried and true, the DVT. We keep going back to DVT. What keeps people coming back, Geri?
We are a local neighborhood establishment known for good food and good service. Consistency is key. We have regulars that have been coming in for 25 years. They're kids, first day of kindergarten, hot chocolate, sitting at the bar with dad. Now they're married and out of college. It's just crazy.
That is funny.
What an incredible story. And you recently won 2 awards in the Visit Dublin 2024 Voters' Choice Awards. Best lunch, no surprise there, and best burger. So, Geri, what's the secret to both, the great lunch and the great burger?
They're both similar, I would say. The burgers, we've been known for burgers for years. For years, we've been known for burgers. They're always fresh, hand-patted, never frozen. And the lunch, we have a pretty basic menu, but unique with some twists. So you can have a leisurely lunch at our place, or if you were on a time frame, we do have items on the menu that you can get pretty quick if you need to get out, get to a meeting, go back to work, what have you.
My go-to is the pick 2 with the village chowder and the salad. So that's my lunch go-to.
All right, Geri, we're not asking for trade secrets, but what is the best way to prepare a burger?
Buy your meat fresh. Hand patty it. Don't buy those pre-pattied. Trust and believe. Make your own patties. Now there's a big debate whether you want to cook them on an open flame or cook them on a grill, flat top, cast iron. So whatever your preference is, that's what you should do. And also seasoning. Season your meat before you cook it.
I do find that burgers are one thing that is always better somewhere else than if I make it.
Right.
So, yeah.
That's funny. All right, Rachel, do you find that the long-standing restaurants do hang their culinary hat on something like burgers, pizza, pad thai, something on the menu with their equal parts greater atmosphere and friendly people?
Yeah, I mean, you can't beat having a signature dish. That's what brings in a lot of people. I mean, it's the village chowder for a lot of people at DVT, or I myself am a sweets person, so I'll always get the seriously big chocolate cake at Cap City.
Sure.
Oh my gosh.
Even though there's always leftovers.
It's for 4 people.
It's a lot, yeah. But I think, it's that's what helps bring people back. And it gives something that, when people walk out of like DVT and other places and someone asks, what would you recommend? It gives them an immediate thing that, people can remember and recognize. So I think it's a great thing.
Well, Geri, you mentioned this. DVT celebrating 25 years in business. Congratulations. And, thank you for your amazing service to the community. Yeah. For comparison, 60% of restaurants fail within their first year. And the National Restaurant Association estimates that restaurants have a 20% success rate overall. So I guess to both of you, what has historically made this industry so hard?
It is a tough industry. I think you need to have an identity of what you want to do. Too many times I will go into a restaurant and I'm not quite sure what their identity is. So if you have a good business plan and you have a good idea, but you need to be prepared to work, and be consistent. Consistent food, consistent service, and you will get there. It will take time, but you will get there, but it's not easy.
Geri took one of my points, that competition, finding your niche and really making sure you stand out. Because I'm sure that that's part of what the challenge is bringing people in. Why are they walking into your place instead of someone else's? But also the marketing. You know, it's reaching out to people. The internet has been a great resource, but it's also kind of a challenge to get in front of people. How do you get their attention and then keep it? You know, whether it's, you know, so many trends on TikTok and different things. So finding different ways, whether or not it's like an Instagram post, asking, you know, people, what flavor should we do next? You know, finding ways to reach those people and keep them coming back.
Well, and it's a good point too, talking about marketing and TikTok and all that stuff. It's like, is it easier or harder now with social media where everyone is a food critic?
I'd say it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
It can be great because you know what your customers are thinking, even though they're not necessarily like calling you, sending you an email, but you see comments, you see things on social media that say, oh, they really like that. How can I make this better? What can I spin off of that? But then if you get the critics that the reviews aren't so good, then you know what to fix.
Right.
Right. So, Rachel, you are kind of a food critic in some ways. As a journalist, you report on these types of things. So what makes a good restaurant in your opinion?
I think it comes down to the two basic things of good food and a great atmosphere. You know, the food is what brings people in, whether or not they read reviews online or a neighbor recommended it, but it's that atmosphere that they walk into, that's what they're there to eat and enjoy time with family, friends, or whoever it is. And that's what can really make a long-standing place.
So sticking with that food theme, what food and restaurant trends are you watching for 2025?
I mean, I think there's a lot of things that people are talking about. One thing I know, tapas has been really popular. People love to share food, whether let me try something off of your plate, you can try some of mine. I've seen a lot of chefs also talking about trying new cuisines. You know, there's so many things to sample all across the world. And so a lot of people, you know, you might be seeing some new flavors and fusions on a lot of menus here in the future, I think.
Well, and before the show, we were talking a little bit about mocktails. And Geri, you were talking about that. You have a lot of things on the menu and you're seeing the demand for that.
Yes. We don't follow food trends so much. Our customers kind of drive that for us and what they'd like to see on the menu. But the mocktail, non-alcoholic, spiritless, whatever you want to call it, is getting really huge. And there are some really good, like a Guinness makes an awesome non-alcoholic. Try it side by side with a regular Guinness. You can barely tell them apart.
Oh, that's great.
Did you in a million years see this trend?
No.
I didn't. I'm kind of dumbfounded by it. But I mean, good for people from wanting non-alcoholic.
I kind of fought it for a while. I go, what do you mean? What's the point? I don't get it. You know, but now I'm kind of getting on that train, you know, trying not to imbibe as much. And, maybe I'll have a non-alcoholic wine or a non-alcoholic beer. Or maybe I'll have that non-alcoholic margarita. It's great.
You know, you kind of touched upon it. You guys are, don't really change that much. But what in 2025, what's 2025 look like for the DVT?
Well, we're becoming known as a whiskey bar.
Really?
So we're going back to the alcoholic side now.
Okay, all right. Shifting
the pendulum
gears,
swings.
Yeah. Redid the back bar last winter to accommodate. We have, I think, 136 Irish whiskeys, maybe 50 bourbons or so, but that's become our thing. We do whiskey flights. I wrote a whiskey book that if you want to know about the different styles, it's just like a booklet we put together because everybody says, do a class for the servers. I said, do you know how long that will take? I said, I'm going to write a book and they're required to read it, but it'll tell you about the styles of whiskey from Ireland. And then it lists every whiskey that we carry, what the flavor profile is, what style of whiskey. It's kind of neat.
Okay, so you said 136 or so Irish whiskeys. So I'm not a whiskey drinker. So I'm going to ask for what's maybe the most popular one on your list and then one that kind of flies under the radar.
Most popular, Jameson, hands down, all day long. At that price point, if you like a blended whiskey, it really is the best blended that I've had.
Okay.
Anyway.
And then how about another one to try?
Writer's Tears. That's another one. I think that's more of an under the radar. They have a few varieties. They have a copper pot, which is their traditional blend, which is really good. They have a double oaked one, for the people that kind of like bourbon.
Well, so Geri, January and February are traditionally slower times for restaurants as we settle into these winter months. So tell our listeners why they should bundle up and leave the comfort of their homes.
Cabin fever.
I thought she was going to say whiskey flights.
Yeah.
That too.
Another good reason to get out of the house. Yeah, cabin fever, it's a great place to go. And as I was mentioning earlier, DVT, it's so cozy. Once you get there, there's good parking all around. And once you get there, it feels nice and warm.
Right. It's a great casual laid back atmosphere. So in the winter, you're in your sweats. I don't want to change. Go to DVT. You'll feel right at home, whether you have a jacket on, and a nice pair of slacks or jeans and a sweatshirt.
There you go. No dress code. Well, we are just about out of time, but we always save time for rapid fire questions at the end. So let's jump in. You ready?
Yes.
Geri, a couple for you. Most popular food item on the menu and then most popular beverage.
Irish egg rolls
Yeah, those are delicious.
and Guinness.
It makes sense.
Wow. All right, Rachel, not to put you on the spot. I know you're sitting right next to Geri, but what is your
Boy.
fave at the DVT?
I know we already talked about it earlier, but I do love to also do a pick two. I'll do the village chowder and one of the sandwiches, normally the club sandwich. It's just a perfect way to warm up.
All right, to you both. You're on a deserted island. If there's one spice you can have, what is it? Start with Geri.
I'd say salt or garlic.
She kind of took mine. I was going to say like garlic powder, garlic salt,
There you go.
but sweet side, cinnamon. Cinnamon goes with a lot.
Yes.
Poor paprika never gets any love.
Aw, unless you're making deviled eggs.
That's right.
It's the only purpose, I think, for paprika.
It is. All right, let's start with Rachel. Epic home cooking flop.
Well, this is more of a mismanagement of time.
Okay, we're not judging here. Okay.
I tried making a family recipe for German potato salad,
Oh.
and I misjudged how long it would take me to peel 5 pounds of potatoes and boil them.
What was your estimate of time on that? Because that sounds like a week to someone like me.
I thought 30 minutes, but
Okay.
it was way longer.
Yeah.
Needless to say, we had leftovers the next day.
Nice. All right, Geri, what's your flop?
The one that stands out the most is if you're traveling for Thanksgiving and going to the mountains and you're cooking, take into account the elevation change.
Oh.
Whoa.
Did not. I'm cooking. I go, nothing's cooking. What's going on? I think we ate at 9:00 that night.
I never would have thought of that. Okay, so we have heard that chefs and restaurants say, when they go home, they just want, like a bowl of cereal or some Doritos, something simple. You're both in the food business in different ways. So do you get tired of food?
No.
Never. You
Sometimes I get tired of cooking, and that's when I will visit. I will go to Bridge Park. I will go to the other establishments in historic Dublin. Never get tired of food, but I get tired of cooking sometimes.
Wow.
What about you, Rachel?
I never get tired of food either, but I get tired of eating the same thing. I like to meal prep a lot, 'cause busy schedules, but I'll always find new recipes to try. So I can try it on the weekend and then look forward to eating it throughout the week.
Awesome. All right, let's start with you, Geri. Do you watch cooking shows on TV?
No, it's kind of like work.
too
used to.
close to home.
Okay.
I used to be like a rabid,
Yeah.
watching all those cooking shows, and it just kind of gave me anxiety. So I
Wow. Okay. All right, Rachel.
I don't really watch them on TV anymore, but I feel like YouTube and TikTok are
Okay.
places where you see a lot of people. Like, I don't know if you've seen the Baking Yesteryear guy, the Dylan Hollis, things like that. Those are fun to watch.
Right. Okay. Celebrity chef, restaurateur, foodie, or food critic that you'd love to meet.
This is a little cliche, but I think Gordon Ramsay.
That'd be a good one.
That's what I was going to say. Gordon Ramsay, Jamie Oliver. I love Jamie Oliver.
All right, Geri, start with you. Do you follow recipes, read cookbooks, or wing it in the kitchen?
All of the above.
I was going to say she strikes me as a wing it person, but yeah.
More often than not, I will wing it.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. Like, you got to start with a recipe, but change it up as you go. Make it taste good for you.
Exactly.
All right. What's the best advice to someone who wants to get into the restaurant business?
Don't.
Think twice. What else you got up your sleeves?
Sorry, it was the first thing that popped in my brain. Be prepared to work a lot.
Yeah.
It took us a long time with the DVT to get it to where we wanted. And, we're still striving for more and more and more. But be prepared to work. You have to love it. And like I said, hire great people, get out of their way and let them do their job the way that they're supposed to.
I was going to say, make sure you know how to do everything, you know, that way if you need to jump on the line and help cook or out there and serve, you know every step of not only what needs to be done in your spaces, but how to do them yourself.
And how long it takes to peel potatoes.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, Geri and Rachel, you're great sports and great guests too. Thank you so much for joining us on Link Ahead.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for letting us join.
And to our listeners, thank you as well for taking the time to connect with your city. Tune in next time as we continue to explore the many personalities and experiences that make Dublin a thriving place to live, work, grow, and eat.